Calafiori is perfect for Arsenal in this video. I'm going to talk to you about why, how he fits in tactically and potentially evolves Arsenal tactically as well. Of all the players we've been linked with this summer, and to be fair, there's not been a lot. There's been a lot of links. There've not been a lot of transfer stories we felt had real legs to them. Benjamin Sesko, of course, probably the latest and only one before this Calafiori one. But this is definitely the player that immediately I thought, yeah, bring him in. I keep describing him on almost every piece of content I'm on as Arteta's built-in-a-lab centre-back, built-in-a-lab full-back defender. Whatever position he's going to play, it feels like he's made, in terms of a profile, for Arteta and what he wants out of his defenders and what he could add as something different to Arsenal next season. Again, in this video, we're going to tell you why. Lots to go through, and as always on In Focus, we start with the player profile. He's a centre-back / left-back. He's actually, I think, at youth level, played a few games more in midfield, but yeah, his professional career, he's more centre-back / left-back. He's 22 years old. He's 6'2". He's left-footed, and he's played for 4 pro clubs. That includes Roma, Genoa, Basel. He was actually on loan at Genoa before ending up at Bologna. And he's actually had quite a lot of moves. That's something that I do want to stress, is that he has moved. You know, he was, I think in 2022, he was still at Roma. So he moved to a lot of different clubs. When at Roma in 2018, had a really bad injury as well, a really bad knee injury. I think there were fears that he wasn't going to play football again. You know, he's had a lot going on in the last 6 years in terms of the injury, the recovery, and then lots of moves. That's, I think, just important context to know that this is a player who, I think when a lot's going on, sometimes you want to settle. He's now played for Italy, only got his 3rd cap for Italy in that first game of the Euros against Albania. So he's not really experienced in terms of an international at Italy. And he's only had 1 season at Bologna but got Champions League football. So in terms of whether Arsenal are going to get this deal done, I think you're trying to convince a player who, to be fair, has a history for moving around a lot and going with the flow and has always upgraded and done really well. But at the same time, this is someone who might want to be quite settled as well. I think that's just important context to know in terms of his journey that got him here. Now, before we go into why I think he's perfect, I just want to remind ourselves of the defensive signings that Mikel Arteta has made at Arsenal. And here they are. We've got 6 of them there. I mean, this doesn't include Cedric, who was a loan deal. But you've got Pablo Mari, Gabriel Magalhaes, Ben White, Takehiro Tomiyasu, Alexander Zinchenko and Jurriën Timber. I mean, apart from the last 2 there, Zinchenko and Timber, who are under 6 foot, there are profiles here that feel quite similar, from the, the wanting of, players who are over 6 foot, or at least in the, when you're talking about Jurriën Timber, is still very dependable in the air and is actually very dependable defensively. He likes presence. Timber, not the tallest in that back 4, but certainly makes his presence felt. You got players that can play multiple positions. Gabriel is the only one there who really is seen as a centre-back and nothing else. Every other player has been able to cover multiple positions, and that versatility, fluidity is important for Arteta. And as you can see, Pablo Mari was the oldest at 26. Every other defenders come in with easily their best 10 years ahead. I say best 10 years, how long are they playing? But you'd think with the 10 years, from 22 to 32, that they're probably going to be at their best. Defenders can age like fine wine sometimes, but genuinely you've got players there that you're thinking they're only going to develop and get better on Mikel Arteta. So there's a few things that match, and as you can see, he's willing to spend quite big on defenders. He would be, if he comes in at the reported £42 million fee, Calafiori, he'd be Arsenal's 2nd most expensive defender signed under Mikel Arteta. So just reminding ourselves there, you already can see that Ben White, Tomiyasu, Timber, Calafiori fits that profile. He fits the profile of a can-play centre-back, can play well at full-back, really technically dependable on the ball, really good in one-on-one duels, and can play multiple positions and give Arsenal a lot of tactical fluidity. I think he fits like a glove from that perspective. Now let's just go into what I loved about him at the Euros for Italy, because yes, we've got data. This is an In Focus video. We'll go into that data. But I really want to touch on what he did really, really well for Italy in the 3 games, just purely from a eye test perspective, because watching Italy a lot, I was watching all 3 games, and well, on the 4th game, Switzerland, we won't talk about that one. Calafiori didn't play in that one actually because he had too many yellow cards. That's something to know. Calafiori did a few things I really, really liked. He was really proactive. Like, he really engaged in his defending. And what I mean by that is, defenders can do 2 things when a dribbler's running at you, right? You can basically sit back, slow them down, wait for players to get back to help you in the defending, to get back into a shape, slow down the attack, and wait for them to make a mistake. Or you can engage and go, no, I'm stopping you. And Calafiori, from the bits I watched, the 3 matches, he he was very engaging in his tackles. He was, as players were entering the box, he got, I think, who was that Spanish player who drove into the box and he just stuck a leg out, won that ball back. Well, actually, I don't think he did, ended up dribbling all over the place. But Italy, who are known as being a really defensively good international side, actually didn't have great defensive structure throughout the tournament. Calafiori did a lot of sort of individual brilliance defending and did it really, really well. I really enjoyed him in that sense. He was brave on the ball. I mean, look at the goals Zaccagni scored to equalise for Italy against Croatia. Italy weren't playing well, but Calafiori said, let's play a 1-2, let me drive into midfield. And as he's burst through and you think he's lost the ball, he just releases it with his right foot, so comfortable on both feet, to get it out to Zaccagni to set up perfectly for the strike. I mean, that's a great midfield play, let alone a centre-back. We've seen centre-backs step into midfield, but that was really, really good from Calafiori, and something that, okay, a John Stones does that and others do, but it was pretty unique, I have to say, and I loved seeing that. The other thing I saw was taking initiative with attacks. He's someone that, throughout the competition was going, right, we're struggling to break the lines, we're struggling to do something, let me be the one that sort of takes responsibility for, pulling the opposition structure and defence out of place by, diving into space a centre-back normally wouldn't. And I really liked all that from him. Now, his FBref numbers for his time at Bologna in the 23-24 season would basically reflect everything that we saw at the Euros in his, in a wider campaign in Serie A and a league campaign where he was really good. Bologna under Thiago Motta got into the Champions League and his numbers were fantastic. As you can see, everything from passes, pass completion, very good, passes attempted, short, medium, long were all good. Actually, long, not so many. But assists as well, you've got there, expected assists, key passes, pass into the final third, all that was brilliant. Let's move on to the possession FBref data, where again, compared to other centre-backs, he's ranking really highly for touches, for take-ons attempted, successful take-ons, carries, total carrying distance, passes received, all that kind of stuff is brilliant. Shot creating actions, as we can see as we go to this next one, really, really high. Shot creating actions from live passes. Yeah, hit the pause button if you want to see most of these, but they're brilliant. Let me show you with miscellaneous stats as well. Percentage of aerials won, really good. He's good in the air. Ball recovery is very high. Interception is very high as well. This all just screams a Mikel Arteta defender, right? Can you be good on the ball? Can you win your aerial duels? Can you win duels in general? We know he loves to win a duel. Can you intercept? Can you be front-footed? Can you take responsibility? I keep saying it, he is Mikel Arteta's maiden lab defender, whether he uses him at left-back or centre-back. We're going to discuss this in this video a little bit later, but he just feels perfect for Arteta. Let's just also confirm, as you can see across his career, he's played 49 games as a left-back, 43 as a centre-back, so even though he played as a centre-back for Italy at the Euros, he's more accomplished as a left-back in terms of pure experience. So actually, accomplished maybe is not the word. He's played there more, let's say. And as you can see, for Bologna, though, it was 29 appearances this last campaign as a centre-back with only 6 at left-back. But Thiago Motta's system and what he does with Bologna is now at Juventus, which is a shame for Bologna, I must say. And it looks like they might lose Xerxes as well. But what Thiago Motta did with what he did with Calafiori and his sort of, Bologna side, they're going to the Champions League football, I think it's important to know when we're talking about Calafiori, because he played in a team that play out the back. Calafiori did play in a team that played out the back, that were very fluid in their systems, that asked centre-backs to do different things. So at times the centre-backs both would step into midfield out of build-up so that the goalkeeper could step into the build-up and actually the full-backs would be more in line with the goalkeeper. If you want to know more about this, I honestly urge you to all go watch Football Meta's video on Thiago Motta and how he's disrupting Serie A with Bologna's tactics. It was brilliant. And as you're watching it, are you not seeing things that you think Arteta would use Calafiori in a similar way? Now, at times, he also said, they said on Football Meta, was that with Thiago Motta's system, the centre-back sometimes, Calafiori, or whoever it might be, but Calafiori from left centre-back, could step into midfield so that, again, the goalkeeper could go round, and then they've got a back four build-up with a more, with a better overload in the central midfield space. When have we seen this before? David Raya, with Gabriel pulling wide and Zinchenko moving central, we have seen Arsenal do this before. Let me take you to the tactical pad, because if we actually just take Calafiori out of this for a second and we bring in Zinchenko, we have seen, and it wasn't this exact level, we saw against Lens, for example, that, whether it was actually Tomiyasu in that game, but the fullback can invert and actually got quite high up the pitch, and then Raya would step into that position from build-up, because it just gives you the extra man and it just gives you more outlets and it gives you more options in build-up. Could you see, if we just open that back up as it was, there we go. Could you not see Calafiori in this system inverting to allow Gabriel out so that Raya can come forward again? He's very comfortable doing that, I think, easily. If we just move Arsenal into more of a build-up shape, I think you could easily see Calafiori doing that when Arsenal are building up, stepping into this shape. As we said, he's been very comfortable with the ball in central areas, driving through the pitch. Seems very comfortable to receive the ball on the half turn. He's got a good pass and range of passes too. Could you see him getting into those areas and helping him build up? But I also want to ask the question about Gabriel. I want to ask the question about whether he necessarily is always going to start. And you're probably all thinking, he was unbelievable last season. How could you possibly do this? But let me just give you a scenario where Timber is the starting left back. Timber's a brilliant player as well, as is Gabriel, as is Ben White, as is Calafiori, as is whoever it is, right? That's not going to start. We're going to have real quality on the bench. And I think Arteta's going to rotate with the back four a lot more. I think if Timber had been fit, White would have been in and out of the team a bit more. And we started to get a hint to that when Tomiyasu was in great form in November, December. White came out of the team and Tomiyasu came in a little bit more. I'm really interested to see whether we see Gabriel get rested a little bit, maybe even Saliba at times, and actually create that overload in midfield in build-up by having Calafiori step forward, like a John Stones would, and then actually you tuck into this back three for build-up. Now, why would you want that? Well, I think simply because, here we go, Timber, Saliba, White. I think the reason you'd want that is because Mikel Arteta was doing that at the beginning of last season. Now, in fairness, Timber got injured and we never got to really see it again. But that was his back three to start the campaign. He wanted White and Saliba in those areas. Only what he got instead was Thomas Partey inverting from right back. Do you remember? He got that shape built. Let's just put an arrow there as well. That was the back four, and he received it. He achieved it by getting Partey to invert from right back, and Rice was the six. He stepped forward. But could you get it with Calafiori stepping into midfield as well? I'd be really interested to see whether that's something Arteta tries. Does he look to mix up the centre-back partnerships a little bit more and get Calafiori to step into midfield from the centre-back position and Timber playing at left-back where he was before? Look, Timber only played 60 minutes of Premier League football at left-back, okay? In fairness, he played the Community Shield a little bit, but I'm just really interested to see whether Arteta goes for something like this as well and uses Calafiori as a centre-back as well as a left-back if we are to get the deal done. I also just want to show you this. It's not really analysis. I think it just makes for great viewing. Let me make it a bit bigger for you. Look at that. Arsenal's centre-back options. Defensive options, shall I say. White, Timber competing. Saliba, Tomiyasu competing. Gabriel Kivior competing, Zinchenko, Calafiori competing. I mean, okay, you're probably going to lose one. Say it's Kivior. And you end up with basically something like this as your options. But like, isn't that brilliant? Maybe you keep Kivior. I mean, there's Kieran Tierney we don't know about, but, you know, you can have so many different combinations. You could have Zinchenko out. You could go for... That's a back four. Are you comfortable with that as your back four, starting a Premier League game? I am. Absolutely I am. Are you comfortable with this back four starting? Yep. 100% I am. Are you comfortable with this back four starting? Yep. No question I'm comfortable with that back four starting. Are you comfortable with this back four starting? Where is it? Saliba and Zinchenko. Yep. Comfortable with that back four starting. Should we make one more? Let's do White back at right back. Let's do Timber at left back. Let's do Tomiyasu. There you go. Saliba, Gabriel, not even in the team. Am I comfortable with that back four starting? Absolutely. Arteta could genuinely have one of the widest option pools of any manager in the Premier League because of the versatility of the defenders he's brought in. To be fair, if you're doing this, it's probably going to look something more like that, maybe. I don't know. You can do whatever you want. Look at that. I just flip the left back to right back and shift everyone around. I love what Arteta's building with the defence. If we sign Calafiori, I think he fits like a glove. And there are questions about whether we need him. Need is strong, but would he upgrade the left back position? Yes. He absolutely would, because he's a natural left footer. And so he will do what Kiwior was trying to do with, I guess, more experience from that position, because Kiwior's not a left back. He does it with more defensive solidity than Zinchenko, and he does it with a left foot that Tomiyasu and Timber don't have. And then you've got those options across the rest of the back four. It's a yes from me. Absolutely sign him. He is perfect. And look, I know you were watching this thinking, maybe some of you are watching this thinking, James, you've never even watched Bologna play, so how do you know he's even that good? Read what James Horncastle said about, this is a Serie A Italian football expert in The Athletic. Look at the way, Spalletti got him into that team to move a left-footed Bastoni into the right centre-back area, just to get Calafiori in. Look at Thiago Motta and what's being said about him as a coach and what Bologna achieved last season with Calafiori in that team. Look at the adversity he's come through, the injuries, the moves he's had, and he's only 22 years old. And yes, I haven't watched Bologna week in, week out, but you do your research, you learn. And from what I have seen of him, I just think he looks pretty special. I might be wrong, but Arteta seems to think so too. So let's see. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this in focus, people. Subscribe to AFTV. There will be more coming, and I think the transfer window is going to get busy in July as well. So keep an eye on everything that's going to happen in the world of Arsenal and in the world of transfers right here on AFTV. See you soon.